If you're currently buying a house, or if you're a real estate agent helping somebody buy a house, today's video is for you because it's going to show you how to get the best deal possible. Now, I have overseen over 1,000 deals in my career, and we've grown our real estate brokerage by 200 agents in 2 years. So I've seen a lot of deals come through. So let's break down the numbers real quick in today's example as far as which routes should your buyer or client use when trying to get the best deal. So here's this example of what we're doing. It's a home priced at $440,000. That's our contract price. We're going to put $40,000 down, and we have an interest rate of 6.75%. And we have $8,000 that we can use towards either lowering the purchase price, use towards the closing costs, or buy down our interest rate. So I want to show you the math as far as which might make best sense for you if you're buying a house, or as a real estate agent, you know how to better coach your clients to see which route works for them. So price, we could offer, instead of $440, we could go to $432. Now, a principal and interest payment. I'm not going to talk about taxes, interest, or PMI. Today is strictly just PI, principal and interest. So that payment, you're still putting the same down. That interest rate, I got my little cheat sheet. Your payment is going to be $2,542 a month. If you lower the price by $8,000. That's kind of what we've negotiated. Maybe there's repair items that we want to overlook in exchange for getting $8,000 back. So some sort of negotiation has happened and we have this amount. Let's say option B is closing costs. What does that do for our payment every single month? Well, your payment would be on the principal and interest portion, $2,594. So it's a little bit higher than a purchase price reduction. Option C is points. Now this means points, buying down your interest rate. If we have a 6.75% rate, usually it depends on the lender and the type of loan that you're working with, but most of the times you have to pay 1% in order to get a 0.25% interest rate reduction. And that's 1% on the loan amount that you're taking out. So in this example, if we have a price of $440, we're putting down $40, we're taking out a loan for $400,000. 1% of that equals $4,000 is 1 point. 1 point gets you a 0.25% interest rate reduction. Rewind the video if you need to listen to that again, but basically this would be 2 points, which would mean our interest rate would be 6.25%. 6.25%, and that would leave our PI payment at $2,462. So on the surface, this looks like a good deal. However, every single buyer is different, and we need to break down what you should know as a real estate agent as well. So if these are our payments, this payment over here is $49 less than our baseline. Our baseline is we get this $8,000 and we use it straight towards our closing costs. Now this over here is $132 less. But why should you consider different avenues? Because every buyer is different. Price. If you're dealing with a new construction, a builder, a developer, and that is the type of home your client is buying, a builder is less likely to mess with the purchase price because it affects every other home in the neighborhood. Let's say you want a $10,000 reduction in the price, and the builder has 50 more homes coming up available. Well, if they lower your house by $10,000 and it sells, that's going to be an appraised value, and that could be a $500,000 decision, not just $10,000 for your house. So the builder is way less likely to touch this. So if you have a new construction, you might go into that realizing we have to do option B or C. Or the other route that you would want to choose, option A, a price reduction versus closing costs or points, is if you're dealing with a cash buyer, somebody that's paying all cash. Your closing costs when you're paying all cash is almost nothing. It's very, very small. So you would rather just wire less money to the closing company on the day of closing. So that would be all cash wants this route. New construction, maybe you're here. Other routes could be closing costs. You might be dealing with maybe first-time home buyers or somebody that's a little bit more cash-strapped. They don't have as much. They're putting everything they have towards the down payment, closing costs. This might be the best route for them. Let's say, for example, I'm just making up something. Let's say they put $40K down, $8K reduction in their closing costs. Otherwise, they would have had to pay that $8,000. So let's say it costs them $48K to get them in the house, and they only have $48,000 in the bank. Well, if you get the $8,000 closing concession, that means they're only required to bring $40,000. A lot different. Now they have $8,000 in the bank, they can breathe a little bit better. Or if your client isn't worried about that, they're not as cash strapped, then this route could be better because they're saving $132 per month. But at the end of the day, no matter which option you're looking for, you need to also find the break-even point. So what do I mean by that? Well, in this situation, this baseline for B, we're deciding to forego lowering the purchase price on the contract and instead get $8,000 that the seller is going to pay of the buyer's closing costs. That means the buyer is going to have to wire $8,000 less on the day of closing because the seller is paying that much. So this is kind of our baseline. However, that's $8,000. So on a purchase price reduction, if we're foregoing $8,000 and we're saving $49 a month, it would take us 13 and a half years of living in the house with a lower purchase price to break even versus the money we had to pay towards our closing costs. So this is 13 and a half years. The median time that most families live in a home is 13 years. So if the family plans to live there forever, this could be the better option to just lower the purchase price. But we all know life happens. People get new jobs. People have kids. People get divorced. So life happens, and this could very quickly be 5 years or 7 years. Where in that case, if the family is choosing on living there not that long, maybe just a couple years, option B, just getting that $8,000 towards your closing costs would be the better option. Now, over here, what's the breakdown? B and C, what's your break-even point? Well, the difference right here at 8,000 divided by 132 is roughly 5 years to our break-even point. So in this situation, let's say the buyers honestly are going to live there only 2 years. Then this is the better route. They plan on moving across the country. Let's say the buyers plan on living there for a while. Maybe they're like, this is the next 10 years. It's less than the average, the median, but this could be the better route. So this is how you can more effectively break down for your clients which route works best for them. Always consult with your lender. That way they can walk you through this as well, because there's all sorts of different programs out there. A 3-2-1 buy down. There's all these different interest rate things you can do to help make the payment better. But now you know negotiating what works best for your client depending on which situation they're in. So if you have any questions, comment down below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time.